Let's get a check on other markets now, see what's happening with crypto there. We're seeing Bitcoin there maintaining, but a couple of altcoins in the red right there. And there's still sentiments coming from last weekend there where we saw big drops. We're still seeing that recovery there. Bitcoin holding up, trying to make a run back to 109,000 level. We'll see if that happens to some of the headlines in the markets. Now we're seeing Guotai, Junan International Holdings Limited, their shares that rallied about 100%, 300%, over 100% at this point after the broker obtained regulatory approval to offer trading services of cryptocurrencies in Hong Kong. We see the U.S. Director of Federal Housing, FHFA, William Pulte, directed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on Wednesday to prepare their businesses to recognize cryptocurrency as an asset for mortgage applications. This directive marks a potential shift in how the government-sponsored enterprises evaluate assets for mortgage qualification. Now, we see Metaplanet, they've topped Tesla in Bitcoin holdings there. Most of these companies in the U.S. there grabbing most of those Bitcoins. There's a Japan-based company, that's Metaplanet, and they're topping Tesla there with Bitcoin holdings. All right, to our next conversation now, we're looking at stable coins at this point. It's all about adoption. How's it growing? Let's talk to Nathaniel Lewis, who's the president, Africa Stablecoin Network, joining me via Zoom. Great to have you on the show.
Hello, Ladi. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so still a lot of talk about stable coins. We're seeing Nigeria. I think the country is leading right now with stable coin adoption, in Africa. Talk to me about, how you're seeing this, right now with Nigeria playing that role. Are there any risks there?
There are not really risks. Of course, there are risks with emerging technologies, there are risks with AI and everything. But you look at technology first from the point of what is this about and how does it add to us and how can we limit any risks that come with it. So stable coins are like coins that are tied to a particular asset. For the sake of this interview, I'll just say a stable coin is the digital currency of a fiat, is the digital version of a fiat of a local currency. So you can have a stable coin tied to Naira, in which one of that stable coins mean 1 Naira at any point in time. We have the CNGN, we have the eNaira, we have stable coins like USDT, USDC that are also tied to the dollar. So sometimes when people cannot access the dollars, if they're able to access the stable coins, then they can use it for exactly the same transactions that they could have used the physical dollars for. So those are what stable coins are. And they're a big plus to emerging markets like Nigeria, where there's scarcity of foreign currencies, where people are looking for currencies to make imports, to make international payments, and all of that. So we've seen that stable coins are beginning to become the new way for people to pay. Rather than go to look for an aboki, buy dollars, deposit in your domiciliary account, people can just stay in their houses, purchase stable coins, and pay anyone, anywhere in the world.
Right. What about that risk of depegging there? We did see what happened with algorithmic stable coins a couple of years ago. Is that still a risk right now with stable coins?
That's a general finance risk. Can the Naira the peg? Can the dollar the peg? And what that means is there a time in which people would say, oh, as it happened before in history, whereby money falls or loses its value? So is that a risk? Yes. But is that something we've really seen happen with most of the stable coins? No. And that's because most of the stable coins are regulated. So a stable coin is not like the usual Bitcoin that can go up or down in value. This one, their values are fixed. So for, let's say, Theta to lose and say, oh, 1 Theta is no more 1 USD, it's now 0.8 Theta or something, that means there is an issue somewhere, right? And what do the regulators have tried to do? You look at the Genius Act in the US, also called the Stablecoin Act. The Nigerian SEC is also working around some form of stablecoin regulations. So the regulators have come in to be sure that the companies, the organizations releasing these stable coins have enough reserve to back the stable coins that they are issuing. If an organization is saying, oh, I'm issuing $10 million worth of stable coins, they must have that $10 million worth of reserve. If they're issuing 1 billion naira worth of stable coins, they must have that in reserve. At any point in time, you must be able to swap back one for one. And that's the role of regulation to ensure that this is consistently monitored and balanced.
Right, and do you think it's an easy job, for the regulators to, monitor, the pegs and, reserve balances?
It's not really whether this is an easy job or this is a difficult job. It's really about this is the future of finance. If stablecoins succeed, it's going to reset everything we know about money. I'll give you an instance. In Nigeria, you go and pay for a table water and you transfer money, and the person tells you, oh, you have to wait until I receive it. In the US, that wire transfer takes 3 days to be confirmed. Most of international payments and trade happen on the US dollars. And you don't want to know how much is paid on fees, how much is lost to fraud, how much is lost to changes in currency value before transactions are completed, how many days people have to wait. So payment is transitioning. What we know as banking is transitioning, right? Just like AI makes things, I mean, I'm doing this interview remotely. AI has made things possible that we didn't think were going to be possible. That is what stable coins is doing to finance in that sense. In the future, our children are not going to have regular bank accounts, right? Because just like I can be here speaking to somebody in France, we will have such currencies that can be used across borders globally that are not limited to a certain geography.
Right.
And that's the beauty of this.
All right, definitely a lot to unpack there, and we'll keep watching how, regulation catches up with the growth of stable coins. Thank you so much. Nathaniel Luz is President, Africa Stablecoin Network. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.